Meet Baby Snaps, later known as Princess Cookie, denied, humiliated, and dismissed for embracing his differences. A dreamer with an unwavering spirit, he weathered through life's harsh realities, fueled by one profound desire: to spread joy and warmth like Princess Bubblegum. But every aspiration bears a great cost, and Princess Cookie was to pay heavily, spiraling into a tragic quest that leads him to a cliff of despair and liberation. His dream of being a princess would see a Candy Kingdom rebellion, hostage crisis, and gut-wrenching sacrifices. A tale of surreal dreams and poignant realities. This is the tragic story of Princess Cookie. As a new arrival at the Candy Orphanage, Princess Cookie, then known as Baby Snaps, felt an acute sense of displacement. He was thrust into an unfamiliar environment, filled with faces he did not recognize and customs he did not understand. Despite the harsh realities of the orphanage, his vivacious spirit often expressed itself through dance, an activity he loved and would often attempt to initiate among his fellow orphans. However, his attempts were met with the listless expressions of his new companions, their own spirits dampened by the harsh realities of their lives, their lack of enthusiasm mirroring the pervasive sadness that filled the cracked walls of the Candy Orphanage. It was the arrival of Princess Bubblegum that shifted the dynamic of the orphanage, and in turn, Baby Snaps' own aspirations. The whimsical tales of magic and imagination, woven with compassion and read in her soothing voice, opened up a new world for Baby Snaps, a world beyond the cracked walls and depressing undertones of the orphanage. It was a world filled with beauty, mirth, and most importantly, hope. Princess Bubblegum was at the center of this magic. Her radiant aura and captivating presence were the embodiment of the kingdom he'd only ever dreamt of. She was like a beacon in a storm, providing hope and warmth in an otherwise cold, harsh reality. Her benevolence shone brighter than any royal crown could. For Baby Snaps, she was the epitome of everything he wanted to become. Her words,
"Anything your sweetheart desires,"
echoed in his mind. For the first time, he saw a world of possibilities, a world where he could transcend his circumstances. The spark within him was kindled into a flame that harbored a singular, profound desire.
I want to be a princess like you.
He yearned to bring the same joy, warmth, and hope to others that she had brought to him that fateful day. Fueled by this newfound aspiration, he made a brave decision. He told Princess Bubblegum about his desire to be a princess, just like her.
I want to be a princess like you.
However, his bold confession was met with stifled laughter. To Princess Bubblegum, the idea of a rough and tumble Baby Snaps aspiring to be a princess must have been seemed amusingly out of place. But to Baby Snaps, her laughter was a crushing blow. His earnest wish was treated like a joke, his feelings dismissed with a simple laugh. This moment marked the beginning of Baby Snaps' crisis. He was humiliated and hurt. The very woman he admired, the figure of kindness and hope he wanted to emulate, had belittled his dream. She had not only laughed at him, but also at his deepest desire. This was a betrayal he couldn't accept. His admiration for her turned into resentment, and his aspiration to be a princess grew into an obsession. From that moment on, he couldn't shake off the feeling of anger and betrayal. He felt,
I got dutied on,
as he put it, and as the resentment festered, Baby Snaps started to morph into Princess Cookie, a figure who held a profound grudge against Princess Bubblegum, believing that
she just wants to hog all the princessing for herself.
The one-time admiration had turned into a bitter rivalry. His wish to emulate transformed into a consuming desire to take her position. It was no longer about spreading happiness. It was about proving her wrong. Years passed at the Candy Orphanage, and as the children aged, so did their challenges. Baby Snaps, now calling himself Cookie, found himself drawn to leadership roles. He possessed a natural charisma that his peers couldn't help but be drawn towards. And as time went on, the name Baby Snaps felt increasingly disconnected from the strong, thoughtful individual he had become. The once vibrant orphanage began to show its age, and the children's spirits followed suit. Cookie grew increasingly disillusioned with the apathy that gripped his friends, saddened by their resignation to a life of hopelessness. He remembered the joy they experienced during Princess Bubblegum's visit, a beacon of hope that briefly cut through their despair. This memory became a source of inspiration for Cookie. If Princess Bubblegum, with her title and crown, could bring about such joy, then perhaps he could do the same. After all, Princess Bubblegum had once told him that he could be anything he desired. The idea of becoming a princess and spreading joy became an obsession for Cookie. The crown, to him, was a symbol of the power to change, to uplift, to inspire. It was not about rule or authority. It was about becoming a beacon of hope for the forgotten and the lost. He dreamt of creating a kingdom where everyone would be free to be whoever they wanted to be, without judgment or restriction. However, this idealistic dream seemed unreachable in the face of the reality Cookie was surrounded by. The confines of the candy orphanage became a microcosm of the larger world he saw as unjust and unkind. The laughter that Princess Bubblegum had stifled when he announced his princess dream was an echo in his mind, a constant reminder of the disbelief he had faced that day. Unable to contain his desire for change and equality, Cookie finally decided to challenge the status quo. He organized his fellow chiplets and led a rebellion against Princess Bubblegum, demanding the princess's crown as a symbol of their new world. Cookie's act was not just an act of defiance against Princess Bubblegum, but a bold proclamation of his belief in the possibility of a world where dreams aren't scoffed at, but celebrated, and where everyone can be whatever they aspire to be. His rebellion, though marred with acts of hostage-taking and violence, was his desperate attempt to bring about change. The crown became more than just an object. It was a symbol of hope and a beacon for those who felt lost, much like Cookie did all those years ago at the candy orphanage. Despite the drastic and morally questionable actions he took, Cookie's motivation remained rooted in a place of wanting to spread joy and acceptance, a desire born from the depths of his past experiences and struggles. Across the chaos of the hostage crisis, Jake, Finn, and Princess Bubblegum found themselves barricaded behind banana guards. Princess Bubblegum had attempted negotiation with Cookie.
How about I give you a big cowboy hat? Then will you let the hostages go?
Yet Cookie remained resolute. Only the crown would suffice. Amid the tension, Jake proposed a daring plan. He wished to disguise himself as a mailman, a seemingly inconspicuous role that would allow him to move freely within the hostage-filled room. However, Princess Bubblegum, echoing her earlier refusal to Cookie, dismissed his idea, suggesting that he looked more like a milkman. Jake, while reluctant, agreed to her modification, and with Finn playing his shadow, the two set off on their covert operation. As Jake talked with Cookie, he found a parallel between his own small disappointment and Cookie's deeply rooted frustration. Princess Bubblegum's dismissal of Jake's initial idea echoed her refusal of Cookie's demand, and Jake began to see the struggle of the misunderstood Cookie in a new light. Cookie was labeled a criminal, but to Jake, he was a tragic figure, a victim of a harsh world that refused to see him for who he truly was. As he looked into Cookie's teary eyes, Jake saw the pain of being laughed at for wanting to be a princess, of being unable to realize a dream because it didn't conform to societal expectations. He felt a pang of empathy, a sharp contrast to the laughter and dismissive attitude Cookie had received from Princess Bubblegum. He realized then that Cookie wasn't a threat, but a kindred spirit, a soul longing for acceptance and respect, and a chance to live his truth. A resolve solidified within Jake, a determination to help Cookie realize his dream. Instead of seeing a criminal to be locked away, Jake saw a fellow being that deserved a chance at happiness, just like anybody else. Cookie looked at him with wide eyes, the glimmer of hope reflecting in them for the first time. A bond formed between them, strengthened by empathy and understanding. Jake was committed to his promise, ready to challenge the preconceived notions of the Candy Kingdom for the sake of his new friend, Princess Cookie. The dark silhouette of Princess Cookie and Jake, astride him in the form of a stretchy horse, tore through the night. They were fleeing from the Candy Kingdom, escaping towards a freedom that shimmered in the distance like a mirage. Freedom was within their grasp. It was as palpable as the cool wind that whipped across their faces, a stark contrast to the stifling atmosphere they just escaped. For a brief moment, Princess Cookie had been able to forget the grim reality of his existence. The laughter, exhilaration, and sheer joy of the moment felt foreign, yet they resonated deep within his candy heart. They galloped on. Suddenly, looming ominously in front of them was the steep cliff of a ravine. Jake didn't falter. His unwavering confidence resonated in his declaration. With a brave heart and unwavering faith in his abilities, he continued to gallop towards the edge, undeterred. Yet, Princess Cookie couldn't match Jake's enthusiasm or optimism. Fear welled up inside him. His dreams, his aspirations of freedom, all seemed to dissolve into a distant echo. What ensued was a chaos of panic and desperation. Jake fell, sending Princess Cookie hurtling towards the edge of the ravine. It was a heart-stopping moment, a tangible manifestation of all the fears and uncertainty that had been looming over Princess Cookie's candy-coated heart. As Jake scampered over, the grim reality of the situation was laid bare for both of them to see. There, at the edge of freedom and confinement, stood Princess Cookie, teetering on the edge of despair and liberation. He knew that the pursuit of his dreams had come at a great cost, a cost he was about to pay as he looked down at the gaping maw of the ravine. His future was uncertain. He could be captured and condemned to a life in the dungeon, or fall into the abyss. It was a heavy price, one that he paid willingly. He'd rather shatter into a million pieces than have his spirit broken and dreams crushed within the confines of a dungeon. And so, he let go. He let his candy body fall into the open air, an embodiment of his ultimate sacrifice for the pursuit of his dream. The sound of his fall reverberated through the canyon, echoing in the hearts of all those who bore witness. He ended up surviving the fall, but not without paying a grave physical toll. His body was shattered, his candy form broken, but his spirit, his dream of being a princess, remained intact. For in his heart, Princess Cookie knew that no dungeon could ever contain his dreams. No fall could ever shatter his spirit. Despite the broken pieces of his candy shell, his dream remained unbroken. Although this wouldn't be the end of Princess Cookie's story. In fact, far from it. But I think it's better if I just let this play out.
Excuse me, Your Highness.
Jake!
Special delivery from the Grass Kingdom.
Princess Cookie, or Baby Snaps, as he used to be known, has spent a lifetime grappling with rejection, feelings of inadequacy, and the harsh reality of a dream that society deemed laughable. He was an outsider, a character whose ambitions dared to defy the roles defined by the society he was a part of. But his return to the hospital was not a defeat, it was a turning point. The crown didn't transform him into a princess in the traditional sense. No. Instead, it gave Princess Cookie something far more powerful: validation. It signified that he had finally been accepted for who he wanted to be, who he believed he was. And the recognition from his peers cemented this newfound status. His fellow inmates, once sharing the same confines under similar circumstances, now looked to him with a sense of reverence. They were no longer just patients. They were his subjects, and he their princess. They bowed to him, not out of fear or obligation, just out of respect for his courage to embrace his truth, marking a significant shift in their perception. This moment signified more than just a change in Princess Cookie's status. It marked a change in his own self-perception. He was no longer the child laughed at for his dreams, nor the hostage taker driven by his desperation. He was a princess, the embodiment of his deepest dreams and desires, a beacon of hope to others in his situation, a symbol of defiance against a world that had once refused to accept him. So they all, Princess Cookie, his subjects, Jake, and the hospital, remained the same in essence, yet completely transformed. They had undertaken a journey of acceptance, not merely in terms of the society they were a part of, but within themselves. Their understanding of identity, ambitions, and the meanings of acceptance and respect were irreversibly changed, ushering a new era in the Candy Kingdom Mental Hospital, an era of acceptance, self-discovery, and the freedom to be oneself.